Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's Monday, which means it's by the sword time. I am joined again by our valiant heroes. Well, most of them are valiant heroes. Some of them are skulking thieves, awkward pseudo intellectuals, and warriors with a debt to pay. But it's sword and sorcery. Nobody's perfect. All right. Well, we are running a little late. I do apologize. We were waiting to gather some players. We are going to be down one unless Brian shows up. But Igor, the player, and let's go. So, looks like we are waiting for any audience to show up. So we're just going to go ahead and dive in there. Um, I'm sure they'll be here.
There's always the replay.
That is true. There's always the replay. And we're here to play this game and have fun, regardless of whether there's an audience. In way of recap, I'm just going to go. You guys already kind of recapped real quick for Drogo, who was not here last time. But if you recall, folks, they had been skulking around the Temple of the Eye, had found the treasure trove, had poked around a bit, and then found themselves suddenly betrayed by the castaway girl Dashti, who had poked the wrong thing and tried to claim the eye for herself, thus awakening a horde of the dead, who she quickly joined. The party fled, going through the lair of the Cyclops, only to find their path blocked by a trio of giant chiropterans who engaged them in battle and did some damage. And now they stand at the cave, faced with the prospect of going out into the jungle at night, knowing that among the horrors of the jungle and the island that they've already encountered, there is also a stalking cyclops out there. And with that, we will fade in to a dark, moonlit night on a noisy jungle, the sounds having shifted from the daytime noises to the still unsettlingly active nighttime noises of an island, of a tropical island. We've got insects and night flyers and hunting cats somewhere out there. You are definitely not alone, and you're hurting. How would you like to proceed?
Ricardo is going to walk over to his friend Ace here and heal him 1 hit point.
Excellent.
Thank you, my friend. I feel much better now.
You're almost fully healed.
Yeah.
When we were coming in, did anybody notice any other smaller caves? Because along with the Cyclops and who knows what other kind of bat-type creatures, there's boars out there. Boars work at night, and they are difficult to kill in the best of times. I don't want to be out there.
I remember.
I don't remember, yeah.
As you had approached the mountainside where the lair was, you could see that the mountain itself was pockmarked up the surface of the kind of rocky side with other smaller caves. Many of them were venting steam or other noxious vapors, but several of them looked, if not to be entrances into a further cavern system, at least small cysts, rocky cysts that you could kind of, that might be an animal lair, or you could perhaps ensconce yourself in if you need to.
Well, if it's just a minor creature, We have somebody that's very good with creatures, animals at least.
I mean, I can't convince them not to attack us, but at least I can have a conversation with them.
Let us move in for a night. I mean, I that would be my idea.
Orvar puts down his bow. Is like, oh, he's talking about someone else. I too am wounded. Those bats took a nasty chunk out of me. I wouldn't mind settling in for the night. Hopefully, while the cyclops sleeps, we can head through the jungle back to that.
I'm probably in the best shape, so I guess I'll pick a cave and.
All right, so you're going to go try and find one of these caves to go into then?
Yeah, something that with nothing that'll eat us, preferably.
All right, and how would you like to go about making your selection? Randomly, or are you going to
yeah, just randomly
decision?
Obviously not.
Well, if it's not
like venting,
one's not spewing gas or lava or anything like that. So, preferably one that's maybe about the size of a person, a little bit bigger, not a huge one, because that might mean that there's something really big in there. And
okay. Go ahead and give me an identify tracks roll.
Okay. And that's a what? It's a D20?
Actually, no. It looks like it is just an ability with no roll for you. So never mind.
So what is that?
Identifying tracks is just to go ahead. It's you have the ability to identify tracks, is what it is.
Yes.
I was getting my additions crossed.
Okay.
So you can tell which holes are layers and which ones are perhaps layers to what creatures. Am I breaking up again?
No.
All right, cool. All right, so through a little bit of a process of elimination, you do find one of the smaller holes. Take some climbing to get there, but you take some time, and you're able to find a shallow cave in the side of the mountain. It does not seem to go further into the mountain. Perhaps there was at some point a larger piece of rock or something that had fallen free of this area, but it leaves a space big enough for the 4 of you, 5 of you, with no real room to spare. You're gonna be kind of tucked, tight, knees to chest, squeezing in there, stooped over a bit, but you can get out of the night and up off the ground if you all needed to.
Okay. I'm going to go check it out first.
Yeah.
To make sure there's
I got a little bit
there.
of rest in the chamber, fellows. So if, especially those wounded, need to try to get some rest, I'll stand guard.
Anybody else taking any particular actions during the downtime here?
Askir's gonna rest, but he will place his weapons near him, ready to grab if anything wakes him up.
All right.
And what is the healing rules with this?
You heal normally, whether or not you rest. If you rest, you heal a number of hit points equal to half your constitution.
Cool. So, yeah, Orvar and Igor need to certainly rest.
So I'll take the second watch if Caldo takes the first watch.
Due to the fact that you feel relatively secure in your position here, you're hidden from view. You've got cover above your head. The doorway, the entrance is not very large, and it's warm. You're in a hole on the side of a volcanic mountain, on a tropical island. I will say that you're able to get a good, decent rest if you were wanting to hunker down for the night. And everybody can go ahead and heal half their constitution and hit points up to, of course, their maximum.
Okay.
Did Drogo actually get hit last time, Eli?
I
know he was fighting.
don't believe he actually did get hit.
Cool.
Oddly enough. All right. So the night goes on without interruption. The worst you have is perhaps an insect crawling into the cave, a curious lizard, mosquitoes. But other than that, you're able to get rest through the night and wake earlier in the morning as the temperature shifts. You got that sort of that dew point where you start to feel a slight change, and you can see the sun coming up over the sea and bathing the island in its light. And the noises of the island are changing back to those daytime animals. Bats in the sky are replaced by birds in the sky.
Probably just as big.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some gulls and some albatross and the like, but nothing too
I
worrying.
mean, seagulls aren't exactly known for attacking people, so we should be okay.
Yeah, as long as there's
depends
no
on
rocks
what country you
flying
live
around.
I mean, I'm not walking around with a French fry hanging out of my mouth or anything.
Yeah. Fine.
Fair.
All right, so what are you guys going to do? You're up a mountain.
Well, I've got the eye. I don't think that we have any other place on this island to go to than back to the ship. Does anybody disagree?
Absolutely not. Yeah, let's get out of here.
Fully agree.
Do we dare check to see if the cyclops is in his lair, or is he still gallivanting across the jungle? What do you think, Aesgear?
I think I should scout it out. If he's in his lair, we can circle around and safely escape. But if we encounter him in the jungle, he knows the place, and we're going to be at a disadvantage. So,
All right, so you're going to go ahead and scout out the Cyclops' lair then?
yeah, I just want to get close enough at first to see if I can, because we could hear him snore last time when we were outside the cave. So I want to approach the cave as quietly as I can and see if I hear any sound coming from his cave. And I regularly glance at the jungle with a worried look.
I'll shadow you like 20 paces back, but with my bow just in case something does come out.
All right.
This is my idea to send you up there anyway.
Okay, so you're gonna shadow Aesgear as he approaches. Just kind of cover him.
Fair distance back, but I'll cover.
Okay. All right, Aesgear, go ahead and give me a move silently roll.
Okay. And that's a 54, which is a fail.
All right. All right. So you're approaching the cave. You can definitely hear him snoring as you approach.
Okay.
And as you kind of slide on some of the loose shale up the side of the mountain, the clatter of rocks turns into a faint tinkling of rocks until the slide topples a larger stone, which careens from just above the mouth of the cave, and you hear it hit the floor with an echoing crack that you can hear like echo through the cave inside. The snoring stops. There's a brief snorting and a grunting and then incomprehensible words as you can hear the clatter and crack of bones moving in the layer below.
Fuck. Ace, I mean, the second some stuff clatters about, Ace Gear freezes in the hopes that no additional movement. Exactly. And I will look around me if there's anything I could use as cover, a larger boulder or something I can hide behind to hopefully not be noticed.
You definitely have boulders that you could hide behind. The exact same sorts of large stones that probably left the divot you spent the night in. They do litter the grade on the mountain is not severe. It's not you're not like on an Alp.
Yeah.
You're a very volcanic mountain, and so you're able to find a place to hide. Orvar, you see Ace Gear kind of freeze and then dart behind a rock.
Yeah, and I sort of will wave my hand, waving him back and down, sort of to try to quietly signal that he should move back and find cover. Hopefully he'll get that message.
Yeah, I've been a scout long enough to understand. And then I'll look back, and if there's any of the party behind me, I'll kind of do the same thing, and I'll try to find a cover and draw an arrow.
All right, you were able to find room enough next to Ace Gear if you wanted to get right there behind the same boulder.
Sure.
So moving down the mountain a little bit to get where Ace Gear is. Ace Gear, you hear that grunting and muttering turn into kind of a very disgruntled yell, and you can see the carcass of what looks like a large animal just like fly out of the cave and go splashing into the steaming river that's outside. And you hear while you can't understand the words, the intent and the meaning is clearly a string of cussing from the Cyclops, and then a snorting and a grumbling, and then quiet again.
I turn to Orvar and whisper to him, "I think he's awake."
Seems like he's not a morning person.
That too.
How long do we wait here?
Long enough for him to get back asleep. This is all whispered.
Yeah. We'll wait for the snoring to hopefully start up again.
Hunkering down then, some time passes, and a few more sort of lazy mutterings can be heard, and then steady breathing, and then the grinding snoring returns again. The cave of magnifying the noise as you're pretty sure the Cyclops has now returned to his slumber.
Okay, we once the steady snoring has returned, I'll wait another 5 minutes or so and then I will point to Orvar. Let's get back the way we came as quietly as we can, and we'll take the long way around. We know where the Cyclops is. Mission accomplished.
I nod and I look at every little piece of rock before I step on it, just because I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you heading? Are you heading back to the cave where everybody else is, or are you starting to make your descent?
Yeah.
Or
no, we're heading back to the cave where everyone else is.
Yeah, because they were just supposed to scout and come back.
Yeah.
And nobody yelled, so I didn't go running.
And
All right.
we'll take the long way around.
All right. So taking some extra time, you're able to make it back without any particular issue. You now know and are fully aware of the loose shale and the conditions that you're moving across, and you're able to get back to the cave without any incident.
So we report to the others that the Cyclops is asleep in his cave, and we should hurry, get the hell out before it wakes up.
Yeah.
The way.
I started laughing. Like, he's a grumpy rouser, and I'm like nervous laughter. I'm just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's not stick around then.
No, he does not like to be woken, from my guess.
Okay. So making your way down then?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going down in any particular order?
I'll go first.
Okay. So you're going to go first. Who's going to follow? What's the order? I guess in your descent.
Mage in the middle.
Yeah, if Drogo's going first, I'll go last.
Okay. And so
I'll go second.
Okay. And Igor's in there somewhere. He hasn't had his coffee, so he's kind of stumbling along mindlessly. So you make your way down the mountain, very slowly, traversing the shale, minding your steps, and you reach the bottom, sort of off to the side of one of the cave entrances to the Cyclops' lair. If you recall, there were 3 large holes. You're off to the left of the leftmost hole, so you would have the other 3 down the way from you. You can see on the little rocky beach there the log that you had seen the night before spanning the boiling river. It is now retracted and on your side of the island of the at the base of the mountain again. Clearly, the Cyclops has pulled it in after him, but it is there. To get back to where you had originally placed your own logs for the bridge, you will have to go past all 3 of the entrances to his lair. So,
can we see our logs spanning the river from where we are?
From where you are, no, you do not have a direct line of sight. They would be kind of around the bend.
Is this a log that we cannot move, or is it?
It's not that. It's not that big. I mean, he is only like a 9-10 foot tall Cyclops. He's not like a giant Harryhausen beast. So it is a sizable log. It is a single log, whereas you guys had cut down a couple of smaller ones. With the 5 of you, I imagine you could probably move it. The hardest part will be getting it across the boiling river, in terms of leverage, making sure it doesn't just go plunk into the water and float away.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should do that so if he wakes up, he won't follow us.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that on the other side.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is that what you're going to go ahead and try and do then?
I would presume, speaking for the group, that we would try with the thought that the backup plan is beat feet as quietly, as quickly as possible to our own dang mobs.
Okay. So
the log is all on the side?
Yeah, the log that the Cyclops has used has been pulled over and is laying against the side of the mountain. So he clearly has his own methods for getting it over and in there.
So we could just roll it into the river and hope it takes it somewhere.
You could, yeah. I mean, you could easily roll it across the rocks and just have it float away, or sink, or depending on the state of the log.
Yeah.
If it's old and waterlogged, it might sink a little bit more than float.
Does anyone have any rope?
What the heck? I'll roll it.
I'll
give it a shot.
I'll say, does anybody have any rope before we do that?
I have some rope.
I have a spike. I presume I'll put a spike into like the end we're going to put in first, like through the rope, and that way, if it does start to go like which way or whatever way, we can sort of like correct it as we push it into the
okay.
The river.
So, are you trying to span the river with it, or sabotage his bridge? What's your intent here?
I was thinking sabotage his bridge.
Well, I was thinking sabotage after we get across if we can use it. But
yeah, let's at least try to use it as a bridge, and if it fails, we just sabotage his.
Yeah, let's do that. All right.
Sorry,
okay. All right. So, somebody give me a strength roll, and let's go ahead. What are your strengths? I don't have your characters in front
16.
of me.
9.
13.
16.
Right, so Drogo, go ahead and roll me a strength check. That's a D20 roll under your strength, and then I'll give you a plus 2 bonus. You got a 1. All right, well, then run the plus 2 bonus. I was going to give you plus 2.
That'll work.
Please swing the log into place with your advanced engineering degree. But no, you managed to actually, with your collective group, you're able to move it in place. Using the rope that you have used as sort of a guy line there, you're able to stabilize it and get it to go across. All right. And so you have now spanned the boiling river with the log. The log does show on one side of the log, it is very flat. You can tell that this has clearly been traversed many a time. And so, it has a very level spot to walk across. And there are even spots on either end. You can see where it's been worn away to be kind of flat. So it kind of actually, one of the reasons you're able to get it to over so easily and stabilizes, it kind of just like notches in, because it's like kind of over time, but it's continued to been ground down flat on the, so it settles into place pretty easily. Now you can see that the river in its very slow flow does sort of lap against the log, but doesn't come up over it. It's a high enough log. So go ahead and what are you going to do next?
Walk across the log.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm not sticking around till this guy wakes up.
Yeah. If you're traveling cautiously and one at a time, you have no problem making it across. Like I said, it's got a nice footpath worn into it, and you're in no hurry. Ace Gear, your trained ears tell you that the Cyclops is still snoring and slumbering as you cross. You make it across to the other side, standing on the kind of mixed sand and rock beach at the mouth of a trail cut through the jungle. likely his chosen path.
I say we pull the log after us.
Yeah.
And we go to our bridge and pull those logs out too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, so you pull the logs, just kind of send them floating down the river. Is that what you're doing? It's like,
Yeah.
You can kind of just go on down, traveling through the jungle.
As we leave, I turn back towards the cave and I do the equivalent of the middle finger towards the
all right,
cyclops.
And didn't you have a pet badger?
Oh yeah, forgot about him. Yeah.
No, he's left on the other side.
Oh no.
No. All right. So you have managed to get yourself away from the Temple of the Eye and the lair of the Cyclops. There's a boiling river between you and the beast. But now you have the jungle ahead of you. Now, it wasn't a very long span through the jungle, if you recall. It was, only a few hours travel to get to the beach, though you don't know where this particular pathway will lead out to as far as the beach goes.
Now, since we started at his path and went over to our path, we're really over there now.
Oh, that's true, because you did go back to dunk your log. So, you can backtrack through the jungle the way you came.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
Yeah.
Just keep our eyes out for zombies.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to find our original pathway through the jungle.
Yeah. You're able to find your footsteps. There hasn't been any rain, hasn't been much rain and stuff, and so you're able to follow your path through the sandy the sandy ground that everything's growing out of. No rain. I mean, other than the few other animal tracks that have crossed over yours, the path is pretty clear. As you follow it through the jungle, you even come across the once again corpses of the zombies you slew, which are now quite ripe and festering. In fact, you smell them well before you see them. You smell them and hear them as they buzz with their ecosystem, and you kind
Ace Gear gives them an even wider berth than you would normally give.
Yeah, you don't want one of them bursting on you here.
Yeah. But experienced warriors know to avoid a pile of bodies. He just goes even further around than really he needs to.
All right, so you're able to cut around them, through by stepping through the underbrush. Your travels through the jungle go relatively unhindered. There are a few moments where something moves in the tree line, giving you pause, but nothing really crosses your path that you have to worry about. You see the light of the beach ahead, and you can see that you were coming out exactly where you remember coming into the jungle. And you quickly get your bearings and know which direction you had left the longboat, along with your captain friend who had brought you there.
Steering clear of the humongous crab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what are you doing then?
As we were walking down the jungle, how large is this eye? Is it basketball size, bowling ball, softball?
Yeah, the pearl is about good maybe volleyball sized. So it's a large pearl.
Okay.
Even if it wasn't some legendary item, it would be worth a small fortune. A large fortune, actually. Because it is a giant pearl. Given the fact that you have seen been told that there are giant clams in the on this around this island. It makes sense to a certain degree if it came here, but yeah, the pearl alone would be worth a fortune, and then it's also evidently this thing of legend.
And it speaks to you.
This is true.
You lit it. So as we got to a safer spot, he stuffed that into his backpack, and so that we can't just like show up and here's the pearl. I really want to get on the ship before we hand over the pearl, so he can't at least waylay us on the beach. He's got to do it on the ship. Yeah. If he's going to further play tricks with us.
Yeah, we don't want to be stuck here like Gilligan's Island.
We should tell him the Cyclops is after us.
Oh,
not bad.
As we approach the ship, we just start running towards it.
Very good idea.
But as we're walking back on the beach, I'll be last, and I'll usually use like my my sword and the scabbard or my bow, and just kind of like mess up our tracks, so you can't see our tracks as we go.
Okay.
Something which can't really follow us unless other by eyesight, though.
So returning to the site of where you came ashore, you find that the boat is not there. The longboat is not there. There is what looks like a campfire having been spent. There's no sign of a fight or anything, but looks like the boat has left. You can see that the ship is still out there, but the boat is not there.
Of course not.
That's not entirely beyond the realm of possibilities. So I will grab one of the torches or one of the logs from the fire and light it. Unless any of you gentlemen have other ideas, I'm going to light this torch and try to signal the ship.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
How far away is the main ship from the shore?
It's within eyesight. It's a good probably a few hundred feet out.
I'll pick up a log or a piece of the fire and join Lacaldo and try to wave a flaming.
Aesgear will keep an eye on the tree line in case anything comes out.
Okay.
I might light an arrow and shoot it towards the boat.
Okay.
Killing the boatswain.
Yeah.
So no, it's daylight. So I mean, it's more the smoke that they're seeing than anything. So the waving logs creating some smoke, and then the arrow shoots through the sky, leaving a trail of smoke behind it. You can see the boat well enough from here that after you start to signal, shortly you see them lowering the boat over the side. With a few men on board who start to row your direction.
Act like the Cyclops is showing up, and let's get the hell back on the ship quick.
Yeah, don't give him a chance to get off the boat. Just get on, tell him to cast off right away. Don't give him time to think.
Yeah, don't even let him get on the shore. Just jump in the boat.
Yeah.
That's Localdo's plan, at least.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if we start coming closer, we'll like wave our hands, like hooray! But quietly.
You see them pulling a little bit more urgently. Eventually, they kind of grind up onto the beach and looking about themselves. They're like, "Hurry! Quickly! Get aboard!"
We don't want that Cyclops to get us. Go!
See one of them holding a short bow, kind of scanning the beach side, the tree line. As you scurry aboard, the men who were rowing push the boat back into the surf and take their positions at the oars and start to row back towards the ship.
Okay.
Sweet. There's all kinds of horrors on that island. You couldn't have come any quicker.
You guys took a good long time. What happened? I mean, you were gone all night.
Too much.
The undead kept us at bay. We were trapped.
Yes.
Sounds like a horrible place. You're lucky to have survived.
That's why we took so long. We were very careful.
We nearly died. More than
there
one.
was a whole tribe of cyclopses, and they were tearing the place up. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Let's not go back.
I show some of my scars. These are fresh.
Yeah, Ace Gear does the same.
Your timing is perfect.
This is no news to us.
The captain was about to leave you if you didn't appear by midday.
God.
Or even worse, send us ashore.
No, you don't want to go back.
No, you don't want to go there.
Well,
Even if you die, you never truly leave. The dead walk on that island.
Well, you do not have to worry about that anymore. We'll get you a cup of rum and a blanket, and you can settle in while the captain takes stock of what you brought back with you.
Oh, yes. We will speak to the captain. Don't you worry.
All right. So pulling back towards the ship, you make it to the side of the boat, to the side of the ship, and of course, they kind of throw a rope ladder down for you to climb up before they start hoisting the boat up. It's easier to hoist it up, obviously, without 7-8 people in it. But you come aboard. You can see Kaza, the man who is the captain of the boat and who had hired you. Air quotes, hired you. But, you see him standing there. He's got his bosun at his side and his first mate. It looks by their demeanor, they do look like they're ready for the possibility of an issue. You can see hands are on hilts as they kind of watch, and he looks to you expectantly. He's like, so you return. Do you have it?
Do you want it?
Shane, you're muted. You're muted, Shane. You were muted.
All that. Ricardo looks, he goes, well, that depends on whether we're done playing games. We don't like playing games. We nearly died several times over there. Is your word that we're going to get back where we started from good?
I made you a deal, did I not? You've delivered the goods. I will hold my end of the bargain.
Ace Gear steps forward and says, you gambled with our lives.
But I
don't start gambling with yours.
My friend,
looks him straight in the eye.
You are a gambling man. I am a gambling man. We all know that there are risks, but the important thing is whether we win or lose. And it would appear to me that we have both won. I have my treasure, and you will have yours.
Yes.
I'm a man of honor, and I signed on to protect this boat from pirates. Not to fight giant one-eyed beasts. Not to deal with the walking dead. Not to deal with massive crustaceans that could crush this boat. Not to deal with swarms of crabs who would eat me alive.
And there's huge bat things.
Huge bats nearly took my life. Thank you, Lucaldo. And you call yourself a man of your word.
He grins widely. It's like, I can see where you're going. You feel that You have been cheated. You've been lied to.
Well, beyond that, we just don't want to be further cheated or lied to. We will trust you, but it's only so far given your track record. So if we can move forward, get this boat going home, every one of us will be happy. When we reach the shore, you'll get yours. We have ours. Everyone wins.
It sounds fair. This is what I promised, and this is what you shall have. Now, shall we set sail, or shall we stand here bickering in the hot?
I thought that's what I just said. Yes.
I
Go.
was also promised rum.
There is plenty of that below, and we spent the night fishing, and we even have a hearty stew waiting for you.
As a sign of friendship, I would appreciate it if you got me some.
Very well. He calls out.
You, and he points, like, he doesn't point a finger when I get grabbed, but he does the lip point. You get me some rum, please. And then I have a big smile as my hand goes to my hilt.
You can see his artificial smile fluctuate a bit. Like there's a twitch at the corner of it, and his eyes he doesn't appreciate it. Clearly he doesn't appreciate being called out in front of his men.
On his ship.
But he regroups a bit. You can see he doubles down on the wide fake smile. Yes. Let me get you a cup. A full flag.
And one for yourself. I don't want to drink alone. We are friends now.
I will get one for all of you.
He
wanders off. You can hear him cussing in a different language, but one of the Southerners' languages, as he kind of grumbles a bit. And the bosun and the first mate are standing there, and their expressions are less bemused. You can also tell that the part of the crew that's back there backing them up is actually trying to suppress their own laughter. I mean, they're clearly, having fun watching their captain squirm.
I'll say to Aesgear in the northern, I don't trust him any longer as much as I did before. I think I might have pissed him off.
The man doesn't know how to gamble.
No, he gambled with the wrong people, that's for certain.
That's the first sign you don't know how to gamble.
I don't laugh.
So you can see that the captain returns. He's got what looks like a barrel lid with several flagons on it that he's bringing back. It's a mismatched set of drinking where probably pilfered from as many inns over the course of his life, and a few resupplies. But you can see them slosh a bit as he moves. Clearly, they're full, and you smell the sweet aroma of a very rich rum on the sea breeze as he approaches. He smiles again. Rum, as promised, for you and your friends.
I'll take 2 cups. I'll scoop out one, and I'll hand it to him, and I'll scoop out another one. Cheers.
He takes it and clacks his flagon against yours, and he upends it. And then he kind of watches all of you to...
I take a cup.
I nod, I smile, and I drink my rum.
All right.
Aesgear grabs a cup, but he only takes a sip.
I clap my hand on his shoulder. Maybe I misspoke. You have to understand, the island was a nightmare. I have a short temper. It explodes. That's why I'm in the south, because of my temper. Please excuse my outburst earlier.
Had I known that this island was such a horror, I would have landed in force and not sent a few hand-picked souls. But I was sure of your sword arms. You are definitely the sort of men who could get this done. Now, I think there was also some promise of food, and Remember, you're entitled to any treasure besides the eye that you have managed to recover.
Yes, correct. And we shall hold on to all of these things until we at least see the port. I'm sure you're fine with that.
Very well. Yeah, kind of turns. He's like, make yourselves comfortable. We'll be setting sail shortly.
Caldo goes over to where the middle part of the ship would be, the main mast, if it's a 1 or 3 mast boat, and just kind of like lean against it and just go.
I'll sit next to a Caldo and I'll whisper, I can lie like he can. He's not my friend.
So in no time at all, the sails are dropped, the anchor is lifted, and the boat is turning away from the island. You each have your rum and have also been presented with a heavy pot full of a rich seafood stew, full of chunks of fish and whatever else they managed to pull out of the ocean.
And whenever somebody tries to get me to eat any of that, I'll look at them and go, I could still smell the dead. I can't eat right now. I'm just sorry. It was disgusting.
Okay. So, are you all just settling in then for the journey home?
Yeah, carefully settling in.
Okay.
How many days, nights was the trip there?
It was about a week's travel.
Okay. So, presuming we don't get accosted, eventually, these rum drinkers don't start falling over dead. I'll start drinking on my rum, still not touching the food. He was not lying. And then eventually go down and at least sit on the hammocks.
Okay.
Unless the smell down there is just.
Yeah, you still have your sort of ad hoc quarters below deck where they'd given you a place to be, and so you're left to yourself as much as you want to be. If the crew clearly. It's not a large crew, if you recall. It's not a huge vessel, but they definitely attempt to intermingle and engage you. I mean, clearly they're if you have stories to tell, they're wanting to hear them. They ask for you to tell them about your time ashore. What kind of and basically you sort of fall into that rhythm of interacting with the crew on your way back.
Yeah.
Kaza has been friendly with you all. He has not held a grudge or anything, and he's taken the eye to his quarters where he has got it secured. But your treasure has been left in your possession. Nobody's tried to take it from you. And within a week's time, you can see the harbor of Lancia, where you had set out from, the imperial city in the Northlands. The weather shifts obviously in that week's travel. It goes from being that warm sun that you might have gotten used to shifting back to the cool winter or early winter, late fall, and you find yourself moving through the harbor gate, past the harbor wall, into Lancia, moving amongst the trade vessels and back into the docks.
With this successful journey, Captain, I know it didn't start well, but I do believe it ended well, and I thank you for that.
You are quite welcome, my friend. I see now, after having spent some time with you all and getting to know you, that you are good men. Men who can be relied upon to complete a mission, an assignment, a task, regardless of the circumstance. You had every right to put a blade in my back, and you did not. And for that, I would consider us parting as friends. If you ever need passage again, or perhaps work, please visit Kaza and his vessel.
As long as Kaza explains the job beforehand.
Full disclosure next time, I promise.
I struggle whether to tell him the truth or just let it go.
So you guys make it into port and are allowed to leave. Leaving Kaza and the Eye, unless you try to take it with you.
Before I leave, I'll say to Kaza, just so you know, I'm in the south because a former friend of mine, stakeholder of mine, he's no longer with us. Just so you know. And I knew him for years. So don't mess with me again. Us northerners, you're lucky. I needed to get back or else you would have had a blade in your back. And then I'll step off the boat.
You hear him just belly laugh as you walk away. It's like, these Northmen, and you see him like turn around and start shouting into his crew. As they start to scramble and unload, their used stores, and you find yourself back in the bustle of the Lancian waterfront. Coming ashore, you are mobbed by a small collection of city urchins and the like, who are wearing their best attempts at winter clothing.
And I'm shooing them away with my staff as best I can. Get away, get away, get away. But I'm not being mean about it.
You can, you all are also sporting a bit more color to your skin compared to the locals now, having spent, a good week or so in the tropics.
Ace Gear will grab a copper piece, sort of hold it between his thumb and finger up in the air so the kids see it, and then toss it away from.
They all go running and scampering after it.
And then I sort of signal to the others, with my head, let's go, and start walking.
Okay. So where are you headed to?
Not the honeyed tart.
With your sacks of gold and other treasure on your backs?
Is there a better part of town where normal people would stay in an inn versus adventurers and ruffians?
Yeah, the town is definitely divided up into very distinct areas. You have, you've got the docks where you were, but then there's also, a merchant district. There's sort of an upper scale noble district where the apartments of the military and the officials of the city would be. So there's definitely places you can go that would get you out of the rabble.
And just because I can, I'm going to harass Igor about all that fish that he ate. I'm on the look for somebody to help me with some magical research. I don't know in this town what that would be, even though I've been in this town once or twice. Have any of you been in this town, know anything like that, like a university where maybe even the merchants area?
I point at, isn't there a wizard's tower over there?
There is a big wizard's tower, or at least a large tower that you behind a wall that you've been told about.
Caldo wasn't there when you heard about this the wizard.
Also, Licaldo, you would know that this particular city, while it is a large trade hub, does not really have a lot of the conveniences of more major cities. It is definitely still on the edges of the frontier of the empire. So there's not a university, so to speak. There are certainly temples, and
that would be what he would be looking for, because this is Conan, not Gandalf and all that.
Just walk up to Hogwarts and knock on the door.
Yeah.
But no. So yeah, I mean, magic is going to be acquired more esoterically. In fact, to a great degree, you could probably figure out magical research through independent study and just your general knowledge.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I figured. There would be some herbalist sage that I'd talk to and try to glean knowledge from, versus, hey, I'm going to go talk to,
some gap-toothed, bearded, tattooed guy in an old shop somewhere.
Or I'm going to go ask Snape about potions. No, that ain't going to happen.
No, you have to find Markham. That's what you have to do. But no, so you're looking for accommodations. You're also then, are you splitting up? Are you staying together? What are you doing?
I'm in no rush to get away from these men. So if they want to go somewhere first, I'm game. But they're kind of quiet at the moment because Licaldo talks a lot.
So, any of you have anything else to weigh in on the next moves?
We have a fair bit of coin. Where would be the safest place to keep it? That's what I wonder. Is there a money lender or some place we could dash it? Do I put it under floorboards in an inn? Like, where are we going to keep our money? What do you?
Well, a good way to
I have no idea.
Carry a lot of gold in a smaller form is to get notes and gems. However, the common man is going to take neither of those.
I just need to store it. I don't want to carry it around on my person, but I don't want to leave it somewhere where I come back and it's gone.
Now, is this a conversation that you guys are having as a group as you're heading towards the upscale part of town, looking for accommodation, or?
Well, I don't want to scream, "Hey guys, I have a lot of money. Please rob me."
Where am I going to put all this gold?
Are you standing around like having this discussion, or are you having this discussion while you're on?
Yeah, as I'm walking.
Okay.
As we're walking discreetly and slowly, so someone might catch one snatch of it, but they won't necessarily get meaning out of it.
We shut up when somebody starts looking at us, type thing. Yeah.
All right. So you make that. You wind your way through the city, and I do have this conversation.
And I'll kind of quote it like, "Where do we believe our cyclops wears?" Like things like stuff like that. Right? I'm not gonna say,
"There you go."
Kind of gold that I got on the horses.
My bag full of cash. What am I gonna do with it?
I got a bunch of potatoes here in this sack.
Everybody, I have money.
Well, in honor of Eli's shirt, we should build a big. In honor of your shirt, we should build a big like Scrooge McDuck type affair, so we can all swim in the gold.
So you make your way uptown. Into the merchant district, which is the easiest to get into. Getting into the sort of the noble sort of senatorial district is going to be harder, but the merchant district is a matter of making your way through. There's a distinct change in the architecture of the city. Almost immediately, the buildings shift from a collection of northern style buildings kind of huddled together and tucked together to a hodgepodge of different national styles, kind of built against each other. You might see a southern, Middle Eastern influence next to a northern building, but maybe made of stone, and then like more of a Roman kind of thing. Very much, shop, spaces at street level with living quarters up above. Occasionally, you do pass like a gate that looks like it moves to a courtyard behind the buildings. The cleanliness here is certainly higher. The streets are. I mean, it's not pristine by any stretch of the imagination because it's still this dark age.
Clean by the standards of the day.
Yeah, exactly. But more importantly, the dress and the attire and the demeanor of the people is definitely a different stage from being on the waterfront and the slums that you had been in before. You are, however, catching a fair number of glances, being the rough and tumble crew that you are.
And the closest looking friendly merchant, I'll just go up to him with a smile and go, whatever time of day, good day. We are looking for the closest establishment for baths and new clothing. We were in a bit of a bind. We had to fight our way out, and we are tired of being a mess.
He looks at you, kind of taken aback by the group at first. It's like, well,
I'm doing like a really kind of creepy, half-hearted smile, trying
with
to
your badger.
look like a knight holding my badger.
Well, if it's a room and board you seek, your best bet would be to go into the bath district. I mean, you can certainly find, the bathhouses there, plus rooms to lend. But might I suggest visiting the baths first?
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Thank you.
Idea.
If you could point us that direction, good sir.
If you are in need of new attire, I certainly could introduce you to some fellows who could sell you some fine threads.
Let us talk further. Gentlemen, I'm going to get some clothes. I don't know about you.
I'll loom over him. What's wrong with how I'm dressed?
Nothing for a man in the wilds, but if you are intending to spend your time amongst more polite company, you may want to dress the part.
What do you think I'm polite?
Oh, I'm sure you are, good sir, but there are some who might judge you based on your appearance alone, and
Orvar, don't give everybody a hard time.
Looks back like he's like he doesn't know, like, I'm in too deep.
I look at him. He says, "But of course you would not, right?"
And as I pat Orvar on the shoulder, I'll say, "I'm sure you'll give us a great price on some good clothing." He obviously is a man of good taste.
Yes, yes.
Laughing. I'm just kidding, my good sir, and I give him a hearty whack on the back.
There's a sudden like relaxation that washes over him. It's like, well, and please understand, I was not suggesting that you need change, but
oh, we went through battle, sir. We know. I mean, we're not Neanderthals or whatever word.
But even the most battle-hardened soldier likes to relax in a fine set of silks or linens, and those I can make available to you.
I don't know about silks, but clean clothing, yes.
Very well. If you go down 2 doors, there's a shop there. My brother, he runs this. He runs the shop. His name is Brendan. You just simply tell him that I sent you. I'm his brother, Lorik, and he'll make good. And tell him that I told you that you get the captain's discount.
Thank you, Lorik.
Yes. Have a good day, sirs. And he kind of slinks back into his shop. Not like he really slinks, just sort of backs into his shop.
Probably thinking, Whammy.
Yeah. I bet you everybody gets the captain's discount.
I bet you he doesn't like his brother, is what I think.
Yeah. I've seen many families like that.
So I'll walk over to this shop and kind of peer in. Is he actually selling cloths?
Yeah, as you approach the shop, you can see there are several racks of clothing that are out in front of the establishment. So it's, looks pretty good. Good middle of the ground clothing. Nothing outstanding by any stretch of the imagination, but well made and standard fare.
No. So I'll just pick out a cloth or woolen shirt and whatever type of pants that would replace the clothing that I'm wearing, and look for the owner and pay for it. And I mean, we can role play this out if you wish, but
no, we don't need to necessarily waste time on a shopping session. So
come on.
Oh no!
If we were playing 4-hour sessions, sure. But I am cognizant of the time. So you stop and get yourself some clothing, whoever it is, all who wants to do so, and then I'm assuming you're going to continue on your way to the baths and then lodging.
Yes, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not changing clothes until I take a bath. Yes.
Okay. So,
go
ahead.
And unless we get accosted,
All right. So you make your way through the district, kind of asking your way along, and eventually you kind of pass through a little sub-gate that moves into almost a small courtyard area. The air here is tinged with the scents of perfumes and the smell of fresh water. I mean, obviously, anybody who's lived around the difference between fresh and brackish water will know that difference. So the air here is very much, there's fresh water. You can smell the warm water tinged with perfumes.
What is that?
There are balconies with linens fluttering about, and you can see that there are several households or buildings that have various signages advertising themselves as bathhouses, or in some cases just you see like eateries and stuff like that. This is almost like a plaza, basically a plaza where these particular services are provided. You hear, however, as you walk through the gate, a commotion up front, up ahead of you. It sounds like a gruff-voiced man yelling and a young child screaming back and forth. Maybe a teenager screaming back at him.
Well,
Asker, I'll bet you a copper piece that's his apprentice that he's beaten up.
Asker takes a look at the two. Does that look like a safe bet?
What you see as you look towards the noise is what looks like a covered palanquin, like a sedan box kind of thing, held by several slaves, with a large man wearing brigandine and a chainmail helmet, holding this, not a street urchin, but a young teenager, maybe a servant of some sort, by the wrist, like really wringing the wrist, and the teenager is like struggling against him.
I go over there and I grab the guy's wrist and squeeze and say, "What's going on?"
As you grab at his wrist, and put your hands on him, his head snaps towards you, and his eyes flare, and you can see that he is very much a Northman, like the rest of you. And he just growls. He's like, "You dare put your hand on me, filthy cur! What is that, a squirrel?"
It's more of a man than you are.
It's like,
And I
mind
throw
your
it at him.
business, wild man.
I throw the badger at his face.
He lets go of the child and is like, "No!" As Bob the Badger into his face, and he's like doing this thing where as the badger and the slaves carrying the palanquin. You can see the palanquin jostle as they just start laughing, and the child runs over and just like kicks the man in the shin, and then darts off, into the plaza. And the man's just like, he takes Bob, finally gets Bob off his face streaked with blood and scratches and bite marks, and like chucks Bob. Bob tucks and rolls and kind of doubles back and scurries up your leg and back to your shoulder. He's like, he turns at you. As he turns to you, his like just eyes are just bugging out of his like now torn apart face.
Now you
will die, wild man. And he reaches for this broad blade on his hip.
I'm gonna headbutt him.
We will roll. Roll yourself a D10, sir, and apply your dexterity bonus.
Okay, that's 7 plus. I don't think I have a dex bonus. Nope, 7.
7? All right.
Yeah.
And he rolled. Well, you still managed to outdraw him. He rolled a total of 4. So Cody shows up, and we're about to have a fight / possible death.
Thanks, Cody.
All right, so Jim, you have the initiative. Drago, go ahead.
I'm going to. I'm just try to humiliate him. Basically, that's all I'm doing. Disarm him. Try to take a sword away from him.
Try to strike for for subdual damage if you want. You don't have to strike.
Yeah.
For.
Yeah. So do I.
You're gonna roll it to hit like normal.
9.
He manages to dodge your blow, and pulls his sword in that move. He kind of pulls back as you swing at him, drawing his blade, and comes back around with that blade.
Seeing that this is getting serious, Ace Gear will sort of discreetly sneak around the palanquin, and once he's on the far side of it from where this guy and Drogo is, he's going to just move the curtains or, that close it off aside and say, "Will you really let your guard make a mess of things? We're all here to enjoy a bath quietly." To whoever's inside.
Okay, so he swings wide and misses.
Thank God.
He misses. His blade swings wide and misses Drogo. You move around to the side, and as you look up towards the bead curtained window in the sedan box, you can see a very piercing pair of women's eyes outlined heavily in makeup. The eyes do not look entirely normal as you start to speak. You hear a sort of low whispering voice. Your man accosted mine. It seems he's getting what he deserves.
Your man started disturbing everyone when he grabbed that child and screamed.
You hear a low chuckle from behind the curtain. The boy was a thief. He tried to steal from my bodyguard's belt purse.
Clearly, he didn't succeed. No harm, no foul.
A thief should be punished for his transgressions. And my man was doing just that. Now, step aside, thief, before I choose to punish you.
That's good. I'll draw my sword and I'll step forward and I'll say in Northern, hold, brother, please.
So,
I'll like to the bodyguard.
Right. Askir, did you want to retort real quick and then I'll get to you, Aurora?
Yeah.
Askir will retort real quick. I have made no transgressions, and what I will do is I will duck under it and run underneath it to catch the guard from behind, hopefully.
Okay. So Aurora, we'll snap back to Aurora real quick as you do that. Aurora, as you call out to him in the language of the Frost barbarians, he stops a bit and kind of holds, like he's getting ready to like come in for another swing, and he stops. Who is it that speaks in my native tongue?
I am Orvar. Please, I will. My man here, he has past issues with being assaulted by people. He did not mean to insult you. He could not help it. Let me buy you a drink for your troubles.
And I could heal those wounds.
Yeah, we wish no further bloodshed.
Askir, what are you doing as this is going on?
I will just
stop. All kind of happening simultaneously. And also, Drogo, what are you doing as the rest of the group jumps to you?
He's holding Bob back.
No, Bob, it's not worth it.
Askir will stop where he is, though he has his dagger drawn, and he will just stay there quietly, hoping to go unnoticed by the guard.
Okay. So, Orvar, he seems to be softening to your conversation. Drago, Bob is on your shoulder growling. Lacaldo, you're sort of trying to assuage him. Askir, as you pull your dagger and take position, you feel a sudden strangeness to your form, and you find yourself unable to move. As if something was gripping your entire body.
Okay, well, I don't move.
I mean, like, literally, you can't move.
Yeah. So I'm not moving, but I'm clearly sort of straining to.
All right. So, Lacaldo, you were trying to play peacemaker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's bleeding. And I said, I could heal those wounds.
He looks, and he lowers his blade, and he looks to you, Drogo. He's like, lay down your squirrel, and we will have no more trouble between us. But I suggest you mind your business, and I will take you up on your healing, healer, and your drink. He kind of sheathes his sword. You can see, Orvar, that he's got a really finely made, northern blade. One of broad bladed, Norse type swords.
I step close to him as close as and I tell him, I will do what you ask, but you will mind who you grab when you're in town.
He raises a brow at your bravado and
I say this in my northern language also.
That's right. You are also a North. he kind of, his demeanor shifts a bit. He's like, He kind of turns back to Orvar. He's like, I will have to catch up with you for that drink later, brother.
I'll reach into my purse and I'll give him a couple coin. There you go, sir. What's your name?
My name is Skaver.
Do I know anything about his person that maybe tells me anything else? I don't know if he notices my scar. He can obviously tell who I am, but
you notice that braided into his hair are some pretty noble some runes that kind of mark him as a member of one of the noble families from the north. But he does, and you see, of course, you've got your exiled scars, right?
Yeah.
If he does notice, he does not seem to be responding to them openly.
That's good.
But it would be unlikely that he didn't notice them. It's just you're away from home and clearly. But so Drogo, he kind of just, you're hearing you speak to him in his normal in his language. He seems shocked a bit and kind of turned to Orvar and mentioned he'll have to catch up to him later for that drink. But he looks to you, Lacaldo. He's like, you're going to heal these still, right?
Yes. I'll walk over to him and in my way of mumbling in Idri, heal him 1 hit point, which is probably all it did to him.
Yeah, exactly. Askir, as the tensions settle, you feel yourself able to move again.
I will sheath my dagger, and after I've done so, I'll walk up to the guard from behind and say, you have more friend in the northern tongue. I will say, there are more. You have more friends than you know around here.
He looks and is like, well, it's good to be amongst my countrymen, and I would love to stay and swap tales with you, but alas, duty calls, and he motions back to the sedan. My lady must return home from her bath. He offers a hand out to you, Orvar.
Yeah.
We will get those drinks. Where should I find you and your fellows?
We are newly back in town. We haven't quite decided where we're going to stay. Our last place we stayed at, we were assaulted and nearly murdered. But of course, Northmen are not so easy to kill. Do you have any recommendations where we can stay?
The door to the sedan opens, and you see a far too small hooded figure drop down to the ground and sort of hobble over to the Northman, to Scarvar, and scurry up his leg and lean in to his ear. And you see kind of Orvar, you notice this, like, as you watch him, this unsettled shift in his demeanor as this small form climbs him and leans in. It then hops down and goes back and then jumps up into the sedan, and the door closes again. Oh, good.
As we see it jump back up, do I still see the woman in the palanquin?
You do. And Aesgear, as you're the closest to the sedan, you notice that when it leaps, when the form leaps up into the sedan, that its feet are unclad and they are not human. There are only 3 toes, and they are of a greenish color, and they end in small hooked claws, almost like that of an owl.
Okay.
But Orvar, Scarvar looks at you and clears his throat. My lady wishes to offer you all accommodations at her domicile for the night.
That is quite gracious of her, but maybe you can tell us where it is and we'll join you later. We have things to do in town before we repose for the night.
Well, you can find my lady's abode at the end of the Silk Lane. Look for the House of the Peacock. That is where she resides.
I nod and I thank him again in the northern tongue.
I ask him if he also resides there in the northern tongue.
Yes, I am always at my lady's side. I have reasons. I will see you later this evening then, after you finish.
Quite possibly.
Very
I nod.
Until then, and he looks back at the sedan and he barks something in another tongue, and the slaves unslack themselves and continue on in procession with him sort of marching along at the forefront of the procession. And you hear him occasionally bark out in the Vantican tongue, seeing as Lancia is predominantly Vantican, because it's in the Vantican territories. He's barking out, basically make way to any of those who would understand. And the procession continues away, leaving you standing there, the new experience, and still unbathed.
But Shrogo, you have an interesting style of making friends. Shall we?
Need new friends.
I reach over and scratch Bob and I say, Localdo, did you see that being or whatever that was speak to the northerner? This is very, very strange.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody on the street saw that strange thing. Was it a child? I mean, it climbed very well.
It wasn't a child. Its feet had claws, and she is a witch.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
That man is from the nobles class. I don't understand why he's here as a simple guard for a witch. I'm not.
No jarl where I come from would accept to be treated like this man is.
So you think that she ensorcelled him? Put him under a spell?
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. She seemed quite powerful.
Yes, you spoke to her.
Yes. And as I was sneaking behind him, she held me. I couldn't move. I strained all my strength, and I couldn't move. I could not even talk to you.
I know of that spell. Doesn't mean that she's a witch, just that she knows magic.
That means she's a witch.
Well, if we had a duck,
travels with a little pet demon.
Yeah. If we had a duck, we could weigh her, but we do not. So I will take Aesgear's word.
We have a badger.
Yes. Thank goodness Bob was here. I'll give Bob a little scritch on the head. I really do not wish to go to that woman's abode after what I just saw climb out of that palanquin.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of that conversation happened in Northern, which Lucado didn't know. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's just looking at you like, "What? Go to her house? What?"
Oh, I to assuage the bloodshed in the streets and be accosted by town guard, I offered to pay for a drink for his troubles, and and he basically said, "Well, that thing came out of the box," and then next, she invited us to stay at her abode for the night. And I didn't commit. I said, well, quite possibly, yes. Maybe we'll see you later, yada, yada, yada. And off they went. But I do not wish to stay there.
Well, as long as you did not agree, then yes, I'm with you. However, if you had agreed, we would have had to at least spend one night with her. Might have been a curse involved.
All right. Very non-committal.
Yeah.
But we do need a bath.
So you guys then head to a bathhouse, which you're easily able to find. You pay your fees for entry, and you are asked if you would like a private bath or if you will be bathing in the public baths.
Private, because we're going to redistribute some of this wealth. Not that I'm telling anybody that, but that's what we're going to be doing.
Okay. And so you're also asked whether or not you want any particular services: food, wine, women. Do you require a musician to play for you while you bathe? Perfumes, oils. Basically, they're trying to upsell you on everything.
A personal, sexy bather, Lucaldo will accept that. Yes.
All right. Within those realms, everything that you would actually want is made available to you. You're certainly able to get company if you desire it, and drink and food, and like I said, all the fancy oils and perfumes that you could want. But you are led to a side. The building you're in is a nicely built stone building. Everything whitewashed and plastered. There's even frescoes, in the walls. You're led off to a side chamber that has its own door, and in it is a walk-in bath with several places to lounge about and stuff. And you're allowed to you're left to your lonesome and allowed to do, whatever, as long as you are paying gold, or whatever. So, I think we're going to go ahead and come to a close here. This seems like a good place to stop. We are going to, if you guys want to make any of the carousing checks, we'll go ahead and do those offline and settle those, because I know there's some rules that go on with that for how much XP you can get, and also you have to roll for mishaps, and we'll deal with that. We will pick up then in 2 weeks. And before we go, though, let's do our normal roundtable here for sort of VIP and favorite moment. So I'm not going to ask for a secret vote or anything like that. Shane, Caldo, who was your VIP tonight and your favorite moment?
As far as VIP, I'm going to say Orvar for being the sensible one this game. Talking the guard off the ledge, so to speak. And my favorite moment was going to be the big shale rock slam debacle, but the Badger stole the show. I just saw, those old shows where the actor's getting attacked by an animal and he's actually holding it to his face.
That's cool. Yeah, that's. I was not expecting that. All right, so your Grumpy Old Slan VIP and favorite moment.
Okay, VIP for me, it is very close between Orvar and Drogo, and I'm gonna go for Drogo. And that scene with the Badger and all that, but it's also, I feel, we revealed something about his character that we didn't know before, and it was very smoothly brought in. So that's why. Favorite scene, there was quite a few, but I think the imagery of the I can never pronounce that word, palanquin.
The palanquin.
Yeah. That exoticism about it, and with that weird creature and stuff, I really liked.
Coco or Rourke?
MVP for me was Lucaldo. I think he's really coming into the character, and they got to teach him how to speak the Frost Barbarian.
He definitely is harassing you guys for,
all the swear words by now.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, I think after a while now we can kind of grant him
you know how to say ale and Frost Barbarian and all the words and stuff. But,
been on 2 weeks on a ship with you guys. He's got to have the basics down.
Yeah.
He's got an 18 intelligence.
Oh, shit.
Your favorite moment there, Coco?
Well, I mean, the Badger scene just stole the show. I was like, wow. I picture that too, the whole, and I mean, so. Like, all right.
I thought it fit right in.
And then the timing when Cody's like, did anybody die? And next you know, there's a Badger in someone's face. They're like, oh, we're going to get in a fight right here. There we go.
It's Jim Cody's fault.
Cody's fault, yes.
Exactly. Everybody blame Cody. All right. So, Sergeant Mushroom, Jim, Drogo. Favorite moment.
I thought the VIP was Lucaldo just doing his performance during the whole thing was very entertaining. And of course, I can imagine like him staring at us clueless while the three Northmen are talking to this guy, and he's like,
What's really kind of funny about that, if you think about it, he's like the most learned amongst you. He's like, I don't know.
But he's traveling with what's essentially these heathenistic barbarians.
4 of them.
Yeah, because the other one is Igor, who's this mud dwelling, bog barbarian.
And I think the best scene was the shale scene where Iskar was climbing down the side of the cliff and botched that roll. That was funny.
Well, I will say if I have to weigh in for the night, my VIP would be Orvar. It was really nice to see Orvar kind of come out and do more in the session, and really getting to see his character act and get engaged. So that's awesome. Good going, Coco. I appreciate that. My most fun as far as running a scene for you guys, because I mean I can't really say like favorite scene because I made them all up. But favorite moment that came out of it for me, honestly, it's a toss up between the escape from the mountain and how you guys handled that last interaction with Scarvar and the woman in the palanquin and all of that. But overall, it's impossible for me to pick like a true favorite moment because you guys are just been amazing to play with, and I have to admit, I mean, I was dragging ass when I came into this session today because I got that late nap. I've spent half the day with like hip pain, and I'm like, can I do this? I can't call out again. But you guys made it a joy to play, and I really appreciate your energy, and I absolutely am psyched for 2 weeks from now. If I could run this game every week, I would, but I don't think I could have you all hear this every week. So, but
would fit, yeah.
But no, it's a great session, and I look forward to seeing where you guys go next. I mean, we'll handle that carousing and stuff offline. So look for me to tag you all in the Discord on that. For folks who tuned in today to watch and check us out, I appreciate it. I think at most we kind of capped out at about 6 or 7 folks watching. It's always great to have you here. I don't pay as much attention to the chat as I could or should, but I'm running the game. But Shane and Coco and Sergeant Mushroom, you guys are all like on top of it, so that's pretty cool. And I even saw Grumpy in there. So you guys, we all share the role, share the duty there. If there's no if, it's good night, and it's great. XP wise, let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and give you all 500 for the night. And that's on top of whatever we come out of with the treasure gained and the carousing checks that we do if you're going to do any of that. So, but at this point, anybody have anything else that they want to say? Anything that they need to pimp?
Game Friday.
Oh yeah, you're playing heroic. That's and Shane's involved in making heroic.
Yeah.
Yep. Backing, please, and thank you for backing.
Yeah, I mean, if folks, I mean, everybody who's watching already knows it, I'm sure. But if you are tuning in later, back heroic. It's on Backer Kit. It's
Eli has a wonderful video about it.
Yeah, just did that yesterday. It is. I can't wait to play it. I keep digesting it and reading it and keeping up with the updates. But yeah, it's definitely a solid game. Grumpy Old Slan. You have a channel, right?
Yeah, I have a channel, The Grumpy Old Slan, here on YouTube. I talk about whatever I like, which is old books, old magazines, old fiction, old video games, old games. Yeah,
it's a solid channel though. I mean, the stuff you cover, I really love the coverage of the old pulps, seeing the old video games played. Lately you've been reading the correspondence from H.P. Lovecraft to Weird Tale, which is so awesome. Seeing his early hearing him
talk, before he was established is quite interesting.
Yeah,
so
he's kind of scathing at times too.
Yeah.
All right, and Sergeant Mushroom, you don't have a channel,
no.
But I'm glad to be gaming with you again. For anybody who doesn't know, I went to high school with Jim. We were old gamers. I lived with him for a while. So yeah, it's solid to have him back in a group.
A lot of fun.
But on that note, I will call it good night, everybody. I'm gonna go try and rustle up some food. It's kind of late, but I need to eat.
Yeah.
But we'll be back in 2 weeks, and you can't see my fingers because they're invisible.
There we go.
2 weeks, ghost fingers, for more By the Sword, and we'll see what kind of trouble our intrepid adventurers can get themselves into. Will they take up the invitation? Will they seek adventure elsewhere? Who knows? But tune in 2 weeks, and you'll find out. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
And